Hey guys, critically acclaimed YouTuber Pie City here. Some of you may have been wondering what I've been up to since my latest and highly successful video on Signalis. If you didn't read the description of that video, I explained why I was absent from YouTube for like 8 months, and also where I've been lately. But to reiterate, I'm going to art college now. Some of you may have noticed that my latest videos have included some sort of 3D element, typically character animation, and that interest in animation has led me here. Before doing this, I was originally going to become a welder, but I found out that shit blows, and 3D stuff is just way more fun and captivating, and actually gives me a conduit to create what I want. I've got a few ideas I'd like to execute once I'm more experienced with animating, so stay tuned. So, why am I making this video, huh? Well, my homework typically consists of 80 hours a week, and on top of being lazy, I haven't actually had much time for videos at all. So I thought that every couple of school terms I'd make a progress update on what I've been doing in school, and so you guys know that I'm not dead. This video probably won't be very long since I'm really just doing this to keep my channel somewhat active during my 2-year sentence, and it'll also all be pretty much unscripted, so there's that. Anyway, a term for us lasts 10 weeks, and the program I'm in has me taking 6 classes a week, so I've got 12 classes of crap to go over, so I guess I'll just go down the list. Starting with my overview of digital production class, I made this little animation here. Nothing big, just a 6-second loop of a angel lady, I don't know, flapping her wings. It's my roommate's model and rig for Blender, and he just gave it to me, and I just animated this. I think it took like 3 to 5 hours, I can't really remember. Not my best work, but you know, I've never actually animated wings, so it was kind of fun. Turned out pretty good, but that final was pretty lax. You could have done literally anything you wanted, so I just kind of did this. Saved me a lot of time at the end when it was crunch time for my other classes, as I kind of already did this like halfway through the semester, so it was great. So next up was my Intro to Maya class. We had a midterm and final for this one, and the midterm was basically just to do like a room and make sure you match the perspective like next to perfectly, and then get the lighting and all that junk correct. I think I did pretty good. I mean, this was like my first time like really modeling something in Maya, and you know, I think I did all right. There's a couple things like the couch arm cushions or whatever. The wall texture kind of looks like garbage, but I think it's all right, especially for like my first real Maya thing. I'll probably have like a side-by-side of my reference and the render if I didn't show it already. Anyway, the final was basically the exact same thing, but instead of using a real picture, we had to use 2D concept art. So I found this concept art off of Artstation. I'll see if I can't find the artist again, put him up on the screen. But I thought it was pretty cool for my skills. I don't know if it was pretty ambitious or not, but I think it turned out pretty okay. My texturing and lighting is pretty garbage, but I think my modeling's not too bad. Could have been a lot worse, definitely. Could have been a lot better. I also kind of ran out of time near the end, so what can you do, right? As for my next class was my Drawing Fundamentals class. I don't like drawing at all, so I'm not very good at it, but I was actually pretty surprised on what I came up with, and I did execute it pretty alright. I think the perspective and maybe the shadows are a little weird in some places, but the objective was basically to make like a miniature wooden toy. So all that cross hatching on the side of the tank here is supposed to be like wood grain, but I didn't really show that too well. Also my wheels kind of suck, but whatever. I don't know, it's pretty good. Could be worse, could be better. Next up was my storyboarding final, and the final was supposed to be you storyboard your own commercial with a real product, and you use a real life famous person. And so I picked Old Spice Deep Sea and Arnold Schwarzenegger, because if you've ever seen an Old Spice commercial, you would know that like anything is possible in them. So why wouldn't I do it, right? And it was pretty good. The teacher liked it. And again, can't really draw too well, but you know, could be worse. That's a common theme, isn't it? It's like, could be worse, could be better. It's term 1, who cares? Let's see, next up is my intro to Photoshop. So I've never actually touched Photoshop before this class. And the final for this one was to make an environment, and you could kit bash a bunch of real pictures together, or you could draw a little bit, but the teacher mainly wanted it to be like getting images off the internet and then making an environment. And I actually think it came out really well. Some friends helped me with the clouds, like they gave me these really high definition, already cut out clouds, because I hate cutting out clouds in Photoshop. It's just kind of looks like garbage. So they gave me this, and it looks pretty good, actually, in my opinion. Yeah, but I think it looks pretty good. So I don't think it could be that much better, in my opinion. I think I did what I could. And finally is my texturing and shading, midterm and final. For the midterm, we just textured like a Jeep Gladiator or Rubicon. I don't really know which one this is. I didn't really go too hard on this. Some people did, but I just kind of caked it in mud and called it a day. And, you know, serviceable. Again, could be worse, could be better. And for the final, we had a city. Basically, the teacher gave us a blank scene that was a big cityscape, untextured, and your goal was just to put textures on everything using the triplanar method in Maya, and then just kind of make it your own. And so I kind of had the whole city textured, but I didn't really like change it originally. I thought it looked kind of like garbage. So I moved the camera around, changed the lighting, and put some extra elements in. And I think it actually came out really well. I sculpted the little crater in the middle with Maya's sculpting stuff, displacement, maps, all that fun stuff. Made the bomb. And I actually really was happy with this. I think this was my best thing I made in term 1. Okay, that's term 1 down. Let's take a look at term 2 now, huh? So for my texturing in 2 is just a direct continuation of texture 1. Different teacher though. I think this was my best piece, so we're starting with the best first. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but those of you who have played Gmod will know that this is the tool gun, and I completely modeled it myself, textured it, made the environment, the very limited environment, but the gun was supposed to be the main focal point, so I kind of just focused more on it rather than the environment, which is fine, but I think it could have been better if I had more time and or put more time into the environment. But I think it does the job well enough. But if you start kind of zooming in, there's some errors, like this blood splatter on the front of the barrel here. You see it's just kind of like clipping off because of the way I did it. I just kind of had like a PNG there with an opacity map. And so I kind of, you know, it does the job. But I think if you get too close, then it's kind of bad. Anyway, I actually had a lot of fun making this one. Like I said, I think this was my best term. And it kind of tells a little story because the teacher wanted us to have like storytelling elements. So it was supposed to be like someone from, you know, a scientist from like Black Mesa or, you know, something was like stole technology, and these papers on the desk is like him trying to get it like patented, and then on the right there's like cease and desists, and we have his business card all the way in the right. You can't really see it because it's too blurry, but it says Dr. Frederick Kleiner, you know, Dr. Kleiner from Half-Life. I'm really original. You can see my horrible handwriting up on these notes here as well. I think it does the job, but I think if I did this kind of thing in the future, then it would I'd probably want to get someone else to write it, honestly, because it kind of looks like crap. Anyway, speaking of the tool gun here, let's go to my hard surface final, because we were allowed to combo classes. So I modeled the tool gun for my hard surface class and then textured it and put it in an environment for my texturing 2 class. So I made a nice render turnaround of it here. I actually was really happy with it. There's some things that should be changed, like maybe the handle kind of looks wonky. The trigger has no actual like space in it. You might have noticed that in the texturing 2 part. It's just, I don't know. I didn't really think about it. It's my first time making a gun. My first time making a prop in general, really. But overall, I'm actually really happy with the circuit board. The screen, I kind of did that all by hand in Substance Painter. I didn't actually take it out and put it into Photoshop and then like put it on like an idiot. But I modeled everything else. I think if I could change one thing, it would be the grip tape. I would actually model that instead of doing it in texture. There's really nothing on the right side of the tool gun, and the fact that I kind of had to improvise that and those 2 little elements down there, and I'm really happy with that. I really like the circuit boards and all that. I don't know, I think this is my favorite piece so far. So now it's all downhill from here, basically. Maybe I'll show this one. Maybe I'll show it for like 5 seconds or like 0.5 seconds because I don't particularly like it. But for my History and Principles of Animation class, we were just supposed to animate. No duh. But the final was a walk cycle. The midterm was a jump cycle. Or like how many frames was it? It was like 16 frames of a jump. I really don't like that one that I made, so I'm not going to show it. But my walk cycle doesn't look too bad. Again, I can't draw, so it's whatever. This is an original character I came up with in like 30 seconds, so she doesn't have that much originality to her. Her name's Maximin, if any of you care. But yeah, you know what? I think it's okay. And for a person who doesn't draw, it could be a lot worse. And now the biggest class that I took this term definitely would be sculpture. We had to make a 20-inch tall physical clay sculpture, and this was definitely the most time-consuming class, like by far. I mean, just the work requirement for it was insane, and probably was one of the sole reasons that this term was so difficult. But if you could tell, I tried making Excalibur Umbra from Warframe. Now, he looks more like Excalibur with scarves rather than Excalibur Umbra, and that's because I ran out of time and also didn't put the time I should have into this class. I passed, thank God, but he could look better. He's supposed to be like running and then pulling a sword from his hand like Excalibur does if you've played Warframe. And I was actually really happy with it because I've never worked with clay before, and it definitely wasn't the worst. So there's that. 7 out of 10. So next was AV Effects and Intro to Comp. I combined these 2 classes as well, like I did with Texturing and Hard Surface. I'm not really happy with this one. You can see there's a bunch of rendering errors and whatnot, but the teacher basically said you could do anything animated, and I wanted to animate characters because that's why I'm at the school, and so I did. I found this cool DeLorean rig off of agora.com. Looks pretty good. I had to add a few elements myself, but the part I did for Intro to Comp, what you'll see is at the end for where the DeLorean sparks a bunch. I just realized I didn't even say what this scene's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the DeLorean going into the future for the first time from Back to the Future 1. And the 2 characters are supposed to be Marty and Doc Brown. I did like the shot where Doc Brown grabs Marty's arm and pulls him back. I was actually pretty proud of that one. But the rest of it was just kind of mediocre. I hadn't animated in a while, so I was just wanting to animate. But I also didn't really have a whole lot of time, and I started late too. I started a lot later than I should have, and I ran out of time. So it is what it is. I did the effects for the Intro to Comp part in like an hour because it was like right before class, and I didn't really have time to change it. So that's kind of why it looks like garbage. But you know what? We got an A, so I guess that's what matters. So that was all 12 of my classes. I definitely think I've improved a lot since coming to this school, and I'll probably link my Artstation in the description, and so you can see like what my portfolio was like getting in here. I've only really put one thing on the Artstation, and that was the tool gun. for texturing 2 and hard surface, because that was really the only thing that I liked the most to actually put on my Artstation. I thought about putting the texturing 1 final on there, and I might still do that, but it's kind of old at this point, and I don't know. Artstation's kind of like your portfolio, so maybe, but I'll try to update it more and more as I keep going. So I don't know, if you follow people on Artstation, I guess you could follow me on Artstation as well and see what I get up to. As for what's going to happen with this channel for the next like year and a half, as that's when my sentence ends at school, I'll probably just every 2 terms, so basically 20 weeks, I'll be making one of these videos with a total of, 4 of these at the end. And it'll be kind of fun. I guess you guys can watch my progress, and it'll also be a place for me to bank my progress. But I'll make sure to put my Artstation down. I've also been thinking for a while of making a Discord server. Just if any of you guys really care that much, I guess let me know in the comments, and maybe I can work that out, make a community post, or maybe I'll launch it with the next video, something like that. Or I don't know, maybe I'll make a dedicated video for it, who knows. I don't really know what else to say here. This is, like I said, unscripted video, don't really know. My notes weren't really good here. So, have fun, see you in 20 weeks.